So, welcome to the first episode of the Social Club, guys, a Bleeders Digest. We're kicking these off for Bleeding Disorders Awareness Month. We have a special guest with us. My name is Steven, by the way, and we have a special guest, Adrian. How you doing, my man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. It's great seeing you.
It's great seeing you too.
How long has it been since we saw each other last?
Man, at least a year or two, like a couple months.
It's been a while, right?
Yeah, it's been a while.
How you been?
I've been good. How about you?
Can't complain, man. Another day in Arizona, right? Man, so I was thinking about it. How long have we known each other now? It's been
Basically my whole life. I basically grew up with this man.
I'm telling you, man, like it's just crazy just seeing what type of man you become, man. And
Yeah.
honestly, I'm very proud to continue to see your journey
I
and continue to
appreciate
see
that.
everything that you do, man. I'm so happy to have you, especially during this month of awareness, right? To be able to talk about some things and to be able to kind of dive in. And I know you'll get to it in a second, but if you want, go ahead and explain a little bit about your diagnosis, maybe, and and like when were you first diagnosed? I want to say, and then like up to now, like have you? What has it been like? You know, your journey.
No, yeah, for sure. So, I got von Willebrand's disease, and honestly, don't even remember when I got that. It's been such a long time.
Yeah.
And, it's definitely shaped me. I've personally never had, like, personal issues per se with it, but definitely, like, watching my family deal with it. I've got a brother. He's been in and out of the hospital his whole life, and, like, got a sister. She gets, like, bruised up, and, like, the womanly cycle, it's, like, bad for her, so it's rough to see. So, definitely shapes you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. No, and you have a point. You know, everything that we go through in life definitely shapes us.
Mm.
Um, tell me, tell me also, like, man. First off, let me just say, every time I see you, man, you got the best fits on, man. I'm trying to catch up with you,
Appreciate
man.
that.
Like literally,
Me,
man.
you got the best fit.
I'm just saying, man. You gotta let some secret sent to the audience. Let us know.
That vintage wear.
Man, I'm telling you. Well, I'll tell you. I remember meeting you, right? I remember meeting you back when, and just from, the energetic young man you were back then, and I'm still looking at the same same one, but like I remember how cool it was just to see how open you were to try new things and to discover, right? And that's why I really appreciate you being a part of this, being able to kick things off as well, and really being
I
a part of this.
appreciate you having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna dive right into the questions. Of course, if you have anything else to add, feel free. You can go ahead and do so. But let me start by this, man. Let me ask you this. Can you tell us a bit about your bleeding disorders journey? I know you kind of went into a little bit with vWD, but how did it, or what did it shape you to arrive to where you are today?
Yeah, so, it wasn't, like, crazy, just, like, nosebleeds and, like, I was always told, like, oh, you can't play sports, you can't do this because
Yeah.
you got the bleeding disorder. So I kind of took that kind of personal because I was like, that shouldn't shape who I am. I
Yeah.
should just be able to do what I want and still prove, like, even though I have a bleeding disorder, I can do what I want, follow my passions.
Yeah, no, and that's a big thing, right? Where individuals may say, hey, like, you may not be able to do this or you may not be able to do that, but I'm glad that you have the outlook, right? Well, maybe I can try, see how my body does,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
Yeah, because just as you know, everyone is different when it comes to a bleeding disorder, so you have to make that accountable too. Let me ask you too, what are some like pivotal moments or experiences that have shaped you to that too, to add on to that?
With the bleeding disorder,
Yeah.
just personal
Yeah,
stuff.
just personal too.
You know, like I said, like people telling me, oh, you can't do this, can't do that, but also been through a couple hardships, people passed in my life, dealing with a lot of anxiety and stuff too. So that definitely shaped me into the person I am today. Kind of try to have a positive outlook on life. Try to put that stuff behind me and be like, I'm better than this. Like, I need to have a positive outlook, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit more about that. I know
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned the anxiety and the occasional stress, and we deal with it, right?
Yeah.
Having bleeding disorders as a person in general, like, so when it comes to that, how do you cope with that?
Uh, I just kind of like tell myself it's gonna get better, and like I personally don't really deal with it as bad as much, but like my sister does. Like I said, with the heavy cycles, she's losing like iron and stuff. Like that's a big
Yeah,
thing. So I see all the stress she goes through. I just kind of remind myself like, hey, other people have it worse than like me per se. So I just kind of have a more positive outlook, and I hope it gets better for them.
absolutely. No, that's a good way to view it because at the end of the day, someone could be going through it, but it's good that you're still there to support them.
Yeah.
But you'll be able to see that outlook too,
Mm-hmm.
right? To be able to help them through it. That's awesome. So let me ask you this then: who has been like a major influence in your life, and what impact did they have to you?
Oh, my mom easily.
Yeah.
She's definitely taught me the hard work ethic that I know, and she's definitely encouraged me to try new things. So, I've been kind of scared to tell people, but I'm on the autism spectrum, so she kind of put me through all the therapy, through all that, told me, helped me shape me in the way I am, because, like, I want to be able to do half the stuff I do without her.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. And tell me more about that too. Like, when it comes to being diagnosed with having autism, is there any type, kind of like what you told me a little bit
Mm.
earlier, is there any stigmas that they try to attach to that for you, or try to
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying?
I kind of got scared to tell people because they're like, oh, he's like weird. He's full of energy. Like, just because he has autism, he can't do this, he can't do that. But there's tons of like smart autistic people. Like,
Yeah,
there's tons. They're like super smart and they're going to like Harvard and stuff. Like,
absolutely. Absolutely, and that's a good point. There's huge stigmas behind our community, right, and bleeding disorders, and then also different communities. But it's good. That's why it's great that we're talking about this today,
yes, definitely.
right? Having these conversations to kind of bring those stigmas down, right? Um, that's amazing, man. So let me ask you then, what are some of the biggest challenges? Wait, actually, appreciate your patience with that one.
Oh, you're all good.
What advice? We just got to laugh through this one. That was funny. Well, so, what advice would you give to someone who has a bleeding disorder similar to yours, or that's going through something similar to
You
you
know,
at the moment?
I would tell them keep following your passions because you shouldn't let a bleeding disorder affect like, what you want to do like for your passion. Like, you should say like you want to be the first person to do this with a bleeding disorder. You should be able to follow that passion so you can tell people if you do that. Like, you know, I have a bleeding disorder, but I didn't let that stop me. I still followed my passion, and I can do whatever I want. I won't let this disorder define me.
That's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Um, Definitely. Thank you for sharing that. What are some common misconceptions? I know we talked about that, about vWD, but like, let me ask you this then. How are you involved in the community, and what have you done in the past to raise awareness?
So, to raise awareness, if, like, I'll tell people, like, hey, I got a bleeding disorder, and they'll be like, oh, what's that? So I'll kind of go into depth with them about it, and I'll kind of explain, like, this happens, like, it's completely normal. It's not, like, life-threatening or
Yeah,
anything. Like, it's completely normal. It's just part of it. And then some misconceptions. I would say a big one is that, like, some people think, like, oh, only men can carry VWD, only women can. Like, no, it affects both.
yeah, absolutely. No, it does. And let me ask you, Adrian, like, for those that are viewing, especially, like, to you, what is VWD in general, and like, um, so the people can understand a little bit more about that.
Basically, it's a bleeding disorder. It's not like I've had people tell me, like, oh, are you constantly bleeding? I'm like, no, I'm not constantly bleeding. I'm not constantly bleeding. I'm not losing blood.
Yeah,
Like, it's just you're missing the, like, von Willebrand factor. So you just tend to, like, bruise and, like, if you do bleed, you got to get, like, the medicine and stuff for it, but you're not like constantly bleeding out. You're not like losing blood, like I said. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. No. And that's a big thing too, and I'm glad you touched on that
Yeah.
because that's one of the misconceptions. Hey, make sure you put a band-aid on that because you just might, continue. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, no,
And like scars and bruises, they just take longer to heal. Like you're not gonna continuous bleed, like you said. It's
yeah,
not gonna keep flowing. Like
yeah,
it's just gonna take longer to heal. You know what I mean?
yeah. And then to your point too, it's a good idea probably to adhere, right, to your medication, whatever that could be, right,
Yeah.
whatever that looks like, to make sure it does heal though properly, right? Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then let me ask you also, if you could change like one thing about your bleeding disorders journey, or just in general your journey, what would it be and why?
Um, if I could find a way to alter like, I would say like joint pains, I would do that because I've worked a lot of labor and stuff for like a couple years now, and with working with labor and hard work, like you get a lot of like joint pains. Like my bad one is my knees. Like I can barely like be on my knees or like lift up with my knees, and then it'll like hurt really bad. So I kind of wish I could find a way to like alter that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, let's talk a little bit more about that, about your work, and things of that nature. Like,
Yeah.
how does that affect you or impact you in any way when it comes to whether even disclosing? Like, what's your comments or your thoughts about that?
Yeah, definitely. I think it just doesn't affect me so hard as other people, but like, I work like labor, like I said, so it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely a lot of heavy lifting and like heavy parts. So like I definitely at the end of the day I'll have like body pain, I'll have like
Oh.
if I use my knees or legs too much, I'll have like bad leg pain, so it's kind of like I'll kind of just at the end of the day I'll just kind of lay down and be like, whew.
And get some rest, right?
Yeah, definitely.
They call it, they call it iRice in a sense. You know the
Yeah.
acronym behind that? I know you probably
Yeah.
do. Infuse, what is it? Infuse.
If you.
And then it's, oh man, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Infuse, and then it's, man, what's the R? Rest.
Right.
That's what it is. Rest. It's rest
Yeah.
for sure. And then ice, right? And then compress and elevate.
Yeah,
That's
but not even just me. It affects other people worse. There's some people that can like barely even stand or walk sometimes because it's so bad.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and that's why it's so important, to definitely adhere
Yes.
to whatever your medication is looking like, because if you don't, it's only going to affect you in the long
Yes,
run to do
definitely.
whatever you want to do, whether you want to continue to lift, whether it's working out, right?
Yeah.
Or going to work, or even just participating in any activities with family, friends, so yeah, absolutely important stuff for sure. But yeah, besides that, do you have anything to add on? I mean, you went through those pretty quickly.
That was a good one. You talked
Yeah.
about the working out. I know
Yeah.
that can be especially kind of hard with people with bleeding disorders because you're like heavy lifting and like, say you're like leg pressing heavy weights, so it can kind of like make you get joint bleed and stuff. So that's kind of a good one to touch on.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you got to make sure that you continue to make sure you adhere, like we said, to the medication, but also continue to have the team around you, right?
Yes,
Whether
definitely.
it's your support team, right? Family, friends, your local HTC, your local chapters. Make sure you have that support to be able to build that foundation
Yes,
for yourself,
definitely.
right? To be able to reach out to. And that being said, if you want to learn more, you're looking to support, please reach out to your local chapter, and make sure you stay connected, stay involved as much as possible.
Yes, definitely. There are good people in the local chapters that will help you any way they can.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Adrian, for coming on today and being a part of this. I'm looking forward, as I said before, continue to see your journey, and to keep us updated too.
Yeah, I appreciate you for having me. I would have gotten the journey I did without you.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. And same, honestly, I learned so much from you. You wouldn't even begin to think, but I've been knowing Adrian now for many years, and I could tell you one thing: he's a tough, son of a gun, and he's super super resilient, and definitely striving to be like more like him every day. So thank you again, Adrian, for being here. Thank you so much for being on the social club
Of
of
course,
Bleeders
anytime.
Digest,
Appreciate you having me.
and being part of this first episode and continuing your legacy.
Yes, definitely. Can't wait to see how the podcast goes.
Absolutely. Have a great rest of your day. And thank you guys so much for listening today. If you'd like to learn more about bleeding disorders, about rare blood conditions, please make sure you stay connected with us. Follow your local chapter. Definitely be able to reach out and continue to stay connected through the podcast as well. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.